Extraction shooters have been exploding over the last few years, but not all of them are made equally. So today I'm ranking them into 5 levels based on the looting experience, PvP, PvE, if it gets the heart rate pumping, and longevity. 1 being the worst and 5 being the best. So strap in, get your cup of tea or whatever you like, and get ready for the video. Here we are, level 1, bottom of the barrel. And I'm sorry if some of you guys love this game out there, and that's DMZ. DMZ was Call of Duty's crack at the extraction shooter genre. The looting aspect of the game was actually pretty good, and the PvP wasn't terrible. But I think what DMZ lacked was the tension. I really don't think it created those heart-throbbing moments that you really want from an extraction shooter. In the PvE aspect, some of the AI acted as if they had aimbots, and as we were talking about tension and heart rate, I really just don't think this game had it, and that's why this game sits in the level 1 tier. Now we're on to level 2. Now at level 2, these games I wouldn't say are bad. They can be really fun games, and a lot of the time these are their first introduction that people have into the extraction genre. I just don't think there's anything special about these games, and I think there are other extraction shooters out there do what they do but better. So I have 2 games in this list. We have Arena Breakout Infinite and Delta Force. I think both of these games actually do a lot right. You know, the gunplay is fun and polished, and you really can't complain when these games are free. The PvP is decent and can cause some intense situations. The only problem with these games being free is it can add a lot of pay to win aspects, which I'm not a big fan of, but I suppose is the trade-off for free games. But it always feels good to kill someone and take their loot when they've paid real money for it. I mean, personally, the looting aspect of this game, it's not terrible, but I think specifically in Arena Breakout, the map is mostly cluttered with pointless loot, and you know, it's not very exciting in that aspect of the game, sadly, for me. I think Delta Force is a lot better in this aspect, where you're able to find a lot of red tier loot out and about, and it's quite generous. I think the tension in these games is also lacking. I don't think they really get the heart rate pumping like other extraction shooters do, but not the worst on the list, and that's why it sits in level 2. Level 3 is where extraction shooters start to get interesting. So level 3. Now this is where the games start to get pretty good in my opinion, and I think an important word that really describes this tier would be potential. I think these are games that have potential to rise to levels 4 and 5, and they've got some really good mechanics, and they are already very fun games to play. So I have 2 games in this list. We have Ark Raiders, which I'm sure many of you already heard about, and Grey Zone Warfare. We'll start by talking about Ark Raiders. I mean, when this game first released, it absolutely exploded, and with no surprise. The unique setting, the atmosphere, and the juicy loot, and that's what we all play extraction shooters for. This game had an abundance of loot. The PvE in this game is second to none really in the genre. The Ark enemies are cool, terrifying, and some of the abilities that they have can just wipe you out, and that creates some real fear. That adds to the immersion and tension, and that's exactly what we want in extraction shooters. The PvP in this game is also fantastic. Some of the fights in this game can just become extremely intense, especially with the Ark getting involved while you're fighting. It can create some crazy fights. If they keep updating this game, I can see this easily reaching level 4 in the future. Moving on to the second game that I have here in level 3, Grey Zone Warfare. This one might come to a bit of a shock for people, because this one's not a complete game, but again, that word potential, and this game has loads of it. It shines with immersion. The immersion in this game is like no other. There are no loading screens. You're literally in your main base. You can call a helicopter and visit anywhere on the map without any loading screens. This game aims for realism, and the PvE has only got better and better with every update. I think the loot inside of this game is really fun. A lot of it connects to quests, and it makes the game feel like an MMO light in a way. There are some unique NPCs out in the world that drop extremely rare loot, which is always fun to hunt for. The game's realism and slower pace make it feel really immersive. The game's obviously relatively new, not fully released yet, and that's why I can't rank it higher, especially in the longevity category. So I think it needs to prove itself a little bit more. and with time, I think this game could really hit levels 4 or 5, but we'll have to wait and see. Now we're on to level 4, and this game is one of the best games within the extraction shooter genre, and it's Hunt Showdown. What separates Hunt from a lot of these other games in the extraction shooter genre is the pure adrenaline. This game creates some of the most heart-pounding moments that I've ever experienced in this genre. The way the game blends PvE and PvP just creates some chaotic moments. Some of the boss designs are really cool and creepy. The sound design is absolutely phenomenal, and you just get so immersed and lost in listening out for sounds, because that could be another player ready to take your life. I do genuinely believe the PvE and PvP in this game are second to none, except the game that's in level 5. Again, longevity wise, this game was released in 2019 and still has a solid fan base. Nothing massive, but it has a dedicated community, and I think that's for those real adrenaline junkies. The only area I can really mark this game down on is probably the loot. There's not a large amount of loot to search for in the world, and you really don't get that feeling when you kill a player and you're like, oh my god, look what I've just found. And that's one thing I think is really missing from this game, and that's why it's not made it to level 5. We're now on to level 5, and this is the GOAT category. This is the greatest extraction shooter out, and that goes to EscapeFromTarkov, which I'm sure none of you are surprised by that. Tarkov is the OG extraction shooter that started it all. Whether you love Tarkov or you hate it, without this game we wouldn't have any other extraction shooters to play. This game is the birthplace of extraction shooters, and I don't think any other extraction shooter matches that feeling of finding loot that you do in Tarkov. When you take out a geared player for his fully kitted out gun, there's no feeling quite like it. The PvP in Tarkov isn't always the most perfect balanced, but the fact that any player with a pistol or whatever gun can take out anybody, it can create some of the most intense moments in gaming. The PvP isn't always balanced, but when Tarkov works, there ain't no other extraction shooter quite like it. And as incredible as Hunt is, Tarkov didn't just perfect parts of the genre, it defined it. And that's why Tarkov is in level 5. And level 5 is still reserved for the king of the genre, and I'm sorry that has to go to Tarkov. Extraction shooters are probably one of the most interesting genres at the moment, and the landscape within the genre is constantly changing. So if we look back on this list in 5 years, it'll probably be completely different. If you disagree with my leveling system on where I've put certain games, then please let me know down in the comments and tell me why I'm wrong. Also, let me know what genre you would like to see me do next in the 5 levels. Thanks for watching. See you next time.